right, guys, and welcome to today's CBA Collegiate Finals for Season 6. This is day 2 of 4, and I am Clover, joined tonight by Porosaurus. Guys, welcome back. Pora, welcome back. Hey.
It's me. Hello.
Chlorosaurus
Hi.
at it again.
Chlorosaurus.
I don't even know where that came from, but I like it.
It's because I have a tendency to put my own names. I put my own name into every song that I can sing. So I also try to mix them up as well. Was a big fan of Brangelina back in the day, and I also try to if there's like a hot duo or something, I will always try to come up with an amalgamation of their names. This is actually taking way longer to explain than is really necessary, and I think I think I've definitely killed the humor factor off of it. But hey, look at this, we're on Miramar and we got a decent circle.
We are, and we've already got teams sharing spots again, as we've seen a second title, San Martin with 2 teams in it, Rochester and Marietta sharing space, and a little bit of a mixture here with Black Boleto. Looks like he's got some company right now, taking shots from another member of Rochester.
Well, Rochester has some catching up to do. They did not have a fantastic day number 1, but there's a lot of teams that could also say that about themselves. Unfortunately for Rochester, Marietta, not one of those teams. They finished in 3rd place overall, and oh my goodness, Black Boleto barely getting away from HIP 1440. I don't know what I'm supposed to call you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, is something
high def? I don't know. We're calling you HIP. That's just how it's gonna be.
When you guys give us crazy names like this, or you give us an alias for the day, we're gonna call you your alias, so we're gonna call you your crazy name or give you a nickname for it. But as Rochester looks like starting to regroup, HIP rotating now for a different direction, but Rico Rodriguez still at the top of the hill could do some damage to Rochester from this angle.
Yeah, it was an interesting reposition from HIP there. He had kind of a good idea where Black Boleto was. He had Iceman coming here from the south, and now Ruby's providing some support as well. I think they had an idea that Rico Rodriguez might be up there on the top side, overlooking all of this. So maybe just the quick reposition, wanting to make sure that they prioritize safety and numbers over trying to get a quick, cheap, easy down.
Yeah, now as Marietta, I mean, mostly regrouped here, but we've seen oftentimes that Marietta will go for a split and sometimes be down to just 2 players for the second half of the game. Obviously, right now, they've got a really nice split surrounding Rochester. As we can see, there's a player almost on each corner of this Rochester group, but Rico Rodriguez, DU have a tendency to sometimes be the last 2 players for Marietta. I'm curious if they're going to be able to pull this off so broken up, or as RIT has regrouped, if their numbers are going to be a key factor here in this fight.
Well, here comes the push, it looks like, from RIT. They've got 3. They've got everybody except for HIP, who's off in the distance. And you can see Hershey, Ruby's Iceman just trying to scout out Black Bullet, see if they can maybe hear some footsteps. Black Bullet's just going to hide for right now. Trevomois is off to the east, but is in no real position to provide any support here. Rico Rodriguez, about the only hope that Black Bullet might have. And really, I think HIP might be aware that Rico is there. Diodiottati's still way off in the distance. And here's the push, and that's the quick down. Well played there by RIT. Black Bullet not able to get away from that.
Yeah, I mean, Iceman has proven time and time again he's really great here as a scout, but also a really aggressive pusher for RIT, getting that easy knock and flush there, along with Hershey and Rubies. These are 3 players that when they're on their A game, man, do they shine. And Rochester, I think, is definitely one of the big underdogs of this league. They placed moderately high for the regular season. I think ultimately ending up in 4th or 5th place, pull that back up. But as you said earlier, they just did not have a good day 1. Getting the first kill of the first match, I think, is a good way to pump up some morale for the team.
Absolutely, and it's not necessarily over just yet. Trevomois, you can see just off to the east here, is split off from the rest of the squad. I don't know. I don't think RIT has any idea. Oh, what a shot from HIP. Gonna get the down on a Diodiottati, and that's bad news. Really, really bad news here from Marietta. That is their superstar player, essentially.
Yeah, and Rico Rodriguez taking some counter fire, but giving away his position. Pin now down behind this boulder, and Iceman's got his sights set, already rotating, trying to spot him out. He sees Rico from this angle, and if Rochester can take him out, Trevor Moir is going to be the last alive. As we mentioned earlier, these strange splits with Marietta, sometimes they really work, and sometimes you get down to just 2 players, and 2 players are down, so...
Well, fortunately for them, Rico does have a bike and he can get out of there just barely. But it looks like he's pushing right into the jaws of Florida State here. He needs to be careful as Florida State has a nice 2-2 split here between high and low ground. Looks like Rico's just going to stay low, though, instead of trying to push up too high.
It looks like Florida State is entering the fight now as well. Melipanda and Mixter spotting out Rico Rodriguez, taking additional shots at him, but not landing damage. But that's going to pull Florida State into this fight.
And fortunately, during all of that, Trevor Moir was able to escape off to the east, and it looks like Rico's just going to go ahead and go pick him up, and they'll survive for a little bit longer here in San Martin. Any transitions that they try to make after this, though, are going to be difficult because, as you saw, we had Florida State off to the south. You have RIT still in San Martin, and then you have LSU immediately off to the east in Hacienda Patron. Nobody off to the north, so they might be safe going there, but it won't be long before they run into somebody because that little spot next to water treatment is a pretty high priority here in circles like this.
I definitely agree. And as the blue starts to come to a close, we can see just about every team is inside. If we actually take a look down here to the southwest, it looks like GCU has found themselves into a conflict as well with Cal. These are 2 of our highest performing teams. And I think it might. Oh, no, not crashing, but definitely getting a little bit close, guys. I do apologize for those watching at home. I know I'm getting a little bit of some performance stuttering, but I'll make sure between game 1 and 2 and see if we can't address that. But for right now, Pluis from UNCC, third-partying GCU, is trying to rotate around from Cal Esports, and unfortunately for them, GCU is going to lose out on Swagnar LOL, and Pluis with the point for UNCC.
Yeah, GCU just caught between a rock and a hard place there. They were getting shot at from behind by Cal. They lose 1 to that while they were escaping, and then trying to avoid the line of sight of Cal, they end up running right into UNCC. Pluis, Johnny on the spot there, going to be able to get the relatively free kill there onto GCU. And now Jay Good and Gumdrop Buttons just stuck here in the south side of Picado for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and in a circle like this, it's always really interesting. Picado obviously in the zone for this next one, but as we move on, there's a lot of open spots. We can see right now NCSU is kind of in a really good place to intercept anybody from this corner, should they choose to take that road in, which we've seen a lot of good ambushes in play from here. But back up north again, San Martin is continuing to stay busy as Rochester is taking on fire from Florida State. It looks like Mixter taking some long-range shots at Hershey and Hip, as they're going to get into a vehicle and perhaps fled the city. But, I mean, this is a good position to hold on for at least a little bit longer while we wait for that second phase. That next circle we're going to get here in a few seconds is going to really dictate how this rest of this match is going to go. And whoa, what a shift. That is typical Miramar right there.
Well, fortunately for a lot of teams, there are plenty of real estate still available. Unfortunately for RIT, it seems like they were trying to plot here something. They had HIP and who else was it? Hershey try to keep Florida State distracted while Rubies and Iceman made this push up to the top. And now Rubies has gotten there, but all of this stuff it might be for naught here as they have to move. But Ruby's going to open fire here, take the shots early. Not going to find it down, but she will find some damage as Twiggy Small is going to try to return.
A great location here by Ruby's. Iceman already moving into position to try to catch Florida off guard as they keep the pressure on. Hip's going to get that knock onto Twiggy Smalls, and I think that's going to trap them here just a little bit longer as Iceman spotting out It's Your Wi-Fi.
Ooh, Wi-Fi getting really lucky there that Iceman wasn't able to get the full down there because he would have been absolutely done and dusted. Fortunately for him, he will get back in while Melipanda will get the res onto Twiggy Smalls. Mixter kind of caught out by himself here. I'm not sure if RIT knows where he is, so he could be a really big factor here as RIT is hard pushing this compound. They want these points. They realize that they are kind of behind and they have some catching up to do.
Ooh, and that's 2 knocks down. Now FSU, Twiggies is completely taken out as It's Your Wi-Fi stuck up top. Mellow Panda, it's up to him. Mixer found out as well. Oh,
that was good by Mixer. He was able to get one and get the full flush, and now Mellow Panda's just running away, and yeah, immediately flushed out and done and dusted by RIT. This is what you wanted to see from RIT, this aggressive team fighting style that they're so good at. We didn't really see too much of it on day one, perhaps playing a little bit, I don't want to say scared, but just a little bit more passive being the first day in the new lobby. And this time they are coming out swinging with both fists. Already have, I believe that's 6 kills overall, yeah, total.
Yeah, 6 kills, 1 for Rubies, 3 for Hip, and Iceman with 2 as well. But back at it as well, it looks like Marietta has found Florida State, and that is going to be just to the northwest of the circle right now. Nade out by Trevor Wall, going close to Flishy, but it's actually going to do more damage to his own teammate, Rico. I think he's going to bleed out. Daddy Rob is going to get the flush here.
And Trovomois is getting car 98'd from the south here. I'm not sure who's taking this. I think it's Uklar from UCF. So Trovomois has to lay down the wall of smoke here and listen for the footsteps from Florida State Gold and see if they are ever pushing him. But he might, I'm not sure if it was Uklar or Mississippi State. Actually, Uklar going to be bailing on this as Mississippi State, full 4-man inside the compound.
Yeah, and it looks like Pavlichenko taking a quick second look with that SLR, trying to spot out Uklar. We can see here tires are out on their vehicles here. This compound is Mississippi still on the edge of this next zone. Trevor Mois in the blue, but I think right now not being looked at by Mississippi State. Florida is going to move on without him.
Oh, boy.
Ooh. There we go. That circle is not bad. I think Trevor could pull this off, but as we take a look at this shift again, I mean, we've got a hard shift south, now a hard shift north again. There's going to be a lot of yo-yoing with this circle, but not too many teams need to make those movements. But just to the southwest, LSU is getting real close to UNCC, who I think knows LSU is here, but I'm not sure if LSU realizes how close UNCC is.
No, I think LSU is more concerned about repositioning, getting inside this next circle. They're all inside vehicles now, which is good for them. UNCC not even going to take the shots, but as we were looking at earlier, UCF Gold was making a rotation around the north side. Now they've run into DWU as Dakota Wesleyan, our 6th place team overall, running into this gold squad who definitely has a lot of work to do. They were in 16th place overall coming into today. Not somewhere we expected to see them.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it time and time again that a lot of those teams just did not perform well on day one. Teams that we expected to play a little bit more aggro, a little more hesitated. Some of these squads, it's their first time all season playing together. They've just been completely separated between lobbies A and B. And I think with that did come, you know, maybe a little too careful of a play, but it did cost a lot of these teams points. Now, of course, we're seeing people be more aggressive. In UCF's case, this is not working out well. They've just lost Dragon and Nomad, but whereas an RIT picking up 6 kills so far for the day. And as this is going on, it looks like Jacob is not having a good day.
Yeah, there's fights going on all over the place here as now Dakota Wesleyan are going to get third part. They have Florida State Gold pushing up on their backside here. Sneak attack does go down, but eventually Fry will spot out Span Cargo. That's UCF Gold going out in 14th place now. Can Florida State Gold push onto this and third party this before Sneak Attack is able to get res? I don't believe they will, but they might be able to get into a good position here to cause some problems for Dakota as they try to make their way into the circle.
Yeah, I mean, just on the edge. Fry is still outside of the zone, but pushing his way in. Trevor Law also up here on the north, so another possibility for a third party. But as shots go out from Dakota, we can see now Flashy is making the push. Matt Stera is close, but it's me Fry that is spotted first. There he goes down. Nice headshot with the M4. As Nade hoping for the flush. Let's see if he can get that Kobe.
Shooting coming out from Flashy there as we cut back. over. Matt Starrett is in a nice little position here to cause some problems. He's actually paused the push, but now he's going to get spotted out by Flashy, and it's just Sneak Attack and Nick left. Sneak Attack trying to make a round here. He's going to spot out Flashy. That's going to be the down and the flush. So Dakota Wesleyan not going down without a fight.
No, and I think still a possibility to get the res on Fry here as Nick is just going to go for it right now. Sneak Attack getting a little bit of a boost and now providing support so they can stay 3-man strong. I know we teased a little bit in chat against Matt Starrett about being the first to die to Dakota Wesleyan, and I promised him I wouldn't pick on him, but Matt, you give me a little bit of reason here just to point out, but it's okay because you've still done well and picked up some damage for your team, but you guys got to get those kills. It's Dakota Wesleyan. He said 6th place overall after day 1. We've got 3 more days, including today, for these teams to rack up points. The top teams are going to take home some prizes.
Absolutely. Well, Florida State pulling away. Florida State Gold, rather, pulling away from Dakota Wesleyan, which is smart considering we saw yet another hard shift, this time going all the way to the south. So all our teams to the north having to pull off of whatever fights they were in and try to make their way in. It looks like LSU is trying to make a mad dash in between WIP and NC State. They might be running right into McMaster Maroon here.
Yeah, I mean, LSU always tries to stay one step ahead of the circle, taking those vehicles, getting that rotation early on. But as we've seen with Miramar, oftentimes in these later phases, there's less compounds and left safe places to go. So LSU's struggling right now to find that place because everything that's left does have people already in it. As unfortunately, Trevor Mois is going to get found up by Marietta. And it looks like McMaster Maroon is actually going to be the ones to pick up those kills along with Mississippi State.
Yeah, LSU losing half of their squad right there to McMaster Maroon. Unfortunate there. I mean, McMaster Maroon, NC State, and Cal have kind of a triumvirate of destruction and death going on right now in the south side of this circle. There's not really much anybody can do about it. UNCC, they're 4-man crashing into a shack. That's how bad things are on the south side of this circle.
Ooh, and they've unfortunately been found out by Zovran. It's going to be Cal Esports that's picking apart UNCC to start, but NC State trying to finish this out as Deadbuster down to 34 health, trying to pop off this first aid kit. Still not able to finish that res as Magnum's actually going to be the one to take out Pluis here. This is not a great place for UNCC. I can't see how they're going to get out of this. They've got angles in every direction on here. McMaster Maroon now trying to get on this fight as well.
Once they ditched their vehicles and looked to move forward on foot, they were pretty much done for. As they sent 4 to the shack, only 2 survived. Deadbuster and Storm will be those 2 for now, and they are on the very edge of the circle as we see. So hopefully they get another hard shift go in their favor. Meanwhile, what else do we got going on? We got Florida State Garnet up to the north. We've got Mississippi State up to the north. We got UCF Black up to the north.
And I think Arizona is up here as well. So we've got a lot of teams taking these northern rotations. As you said, we've had really wild circle rotations, north-south, north-south, a lot of yo-yoing that we sometimes see with these Miramar circles. And these teams on the edge are really starting to suffer as the circle pulls away drastically from them, a lot of them without vehicles on foot, but we're running out of coverage as we're losing mountainous terrain, we're losing compounds, and I think we're about to maybe lose Minas. Oof. We are. Oof.
McMaster Maroon. They just got gifted this central compound. Now, the question is how can they pick up anything from here? I mean, look at where they are. There's nothing really around them. There's nothing really anybody can really push here. As DWU is going to immediately spot out LSU. Dakota Wesleyan picking up a few more kills for themselves here. Eventually, McMaster Maroon. I don't know what they can do really. Nobody's going to really try to push them.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think their best bet here is to maybe third-party this rotation that we're about to see come in from WIP. UCF Black pushing in right behind them as we can see shots already out. And McQuinty finding out Bondsguard, but down low himself. His helmet is damaged, 42 HP. And throwing out his only nade. And it's not going to be enough to take down Bondsguard, who's stopping to use that first aid kit. So both these teams have a minute and a half to get into the zone on top of one another, with NCSU and McMaster Maroon just downhill from them.
Oof. Paradox came to provide some support from McQuincy here. He managed to get the down and the flush eventually here onto OG, but Yanta now is creeping up on the wall. They can't afford to really stick this fight out too long because they have to make their way inside circle. Dakota Wesleyan, meanwhile, is just clearing things up on that eastern side of the circle.
Yeah, Dakota Wesleyan, I mean, we just missed out on this fight, but mowed out Arizona State University. It looks like UCF finally pushing into WBI. Paradox is going to go down with Quinty. Trying to help out Falls himself. Bonsgar is going to lose Uklar as well. Yanta trying to get that rotation from behind. Getting 2 flushes there for WPI, but Gideon Jura with that far rotation is going to get Bonsgar down, and it's just up to Yanta. We've got a 1 and 1 up for both of these teams.
I'm not sure what Yanta can do here. I don't know how much utility he's got. The smokes, even if he threw them, wouldn't really bloom in time. So it's going to be a 1v1, and Yanta with the Vector. Gonna come in clutch for UCF Black. Staying alive.
Through like butter at close range. I mean, you know, you don't often see SMGs this late in the game, but Yanta's going to make perfect use of it, especially on Miramar. But now we're back into that distance fight. I think he's been spotted by NCSU, who luckily is just distracted by UNCC. It's going to give Yanta a chance or not. Found out there by Sir Lemons. And that's so it for UCF Black. Both UCF teams out now. 6 teams up, 19 teams left alive. And 2 seconds, we'll see this next zone.
Yeah, we got a big fight going up on the hill up here, and it looks like it should play out here. Mississippi State, DWU, and Gumdrop Buttons, the last player here from Grand Canyon. Looks like MSU should be able to. Oh my God, that grenade from Nick is right on time as he gets the down and the flush. And JT&T and Prodigal Knight now have to be wary of the push from DWU as it's coming.
Yeah, DWU playing very aggro today, and it's working well in their favor as they get another squad wipe. And Mississippi State now eliminated
50 freaking kills.
You know what? We said it before. 6th place before the start of this match. I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling Dakota Wesleyan tonight, and let's hope they can hold on to this. I know a lot of teams after day 1 really went back, watched VODs, did their homework, and tried to prepare how this new layout's going to be with these top 16 teams. And I can see already which teams really coming in for the kill today, but Gumdrops is still here, and Dakota Wesleyan needs to be careful not to let down their guard. They might have been thinking that they've won this compound out.
Yeah, it's really what it's going to depend for Dakota Wesleyan, what Cal and NC State can accomplish here against McMaster Maroon in the enclosed in the compound. Really, Kyle trying to push up here. I mean, they have a ridge line just barely to work with, but you can see it's still outside of circle. They can't really get much done from here, and they're going to have to crest over the top of that here shortly. So NC State looks like they're going to hop into vehicles, and maybe they might have to just crash onto Maroon here.
Yeah, I mean, Cal has been doing some good damage here onto NCSU, but just can't get those kills as K-Pat's vehicle is very low, and he's actually going to take a lot of damage. Oh, Regime's just going straight for the crash. Is going to get Magnum down, but that's an easy knock there by Kingdom. But the rest of NCSU still right across the ridge, and Zovrin without a smoke is just going to go for that res.
Regime's just threaded the needle. Got 3 points on the field goal there as he managed to make his way through all 3 of those Cal players. Magnum actually going down to a grenade from Zovrin. So Cal now going to turn their attention back over to NCSU. It looks like they are all but done and dusted. Crawfresh, the only one alive now, trying to make his way through. A little bit of smoke, but he is under some serious pressure here from both Maroon and Cal.
Yeah, and even DWU I think Winlow was actually one to go down. So at a distance, NCSU just trapped by every side. Not a lot of coverage, but Zovrin's going to get that final kill. And down to 4 teams, 10 players left alive. And Cal somehow finding this perfect little hill to hide behind as they try to do a number now onto DWU before getting the opportunity to push it. And Maroon has been handed the circle again. 7 phases, 7 times in the center of the zone here. But at the same time, I mean, they've been really comfortable in 5 kills, which might not seem like anything to bulk at, but compared to DWU right now, who's just sitting pretty at the top of kills so far for today.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, just based off a looking at what the mini map looks like, it looks like Cal might still have a little bit of ridgeline to play with on this new circle. So DWU definitely in the most trouble here, as they're down to 2. I'm not sure where they lost one. I think they lost sneak attack at some point. And there comes Gumdrop Buttons. You knew he was going to come out eventually, and he's going to get the down and the quick flush on the Fry. So Dakota Wesleyan starting to fall apart here at the end. Can't really blame them. The circle was just not really there for them, but by God, they have done everything they can with what they were handed. Nick with 7 kills of his own already, 16 for the squad.
Yeah, I mean, Dakota Wesleyan, especially considered the craziness of the zone today, really done a great job for themselves. But this circle has been wildly unpredictable, only really helping McMaster here. But Gumdrops gets low from that hit from Nick. To the zone. Not giving Dakota Wesleyan one more point, but Nick now spotted out by both Cal and McMaster Maroon. See if he can make it to that shed, which still isn't even in the zone. He's going to have to push on further, but Zavrin is going to pick it up, and we're down to just 2 teams.
Tough sledding there, but I assure you that DWU will have made a nice jump here, especially considering NC State going out not early, but I don't know how many kills they were sitting on. They were our first place team by quite a lot. But going out a little bit earlier than we're used to seeing them, because we're used to seeing them in, top 3. So we'll have to see what Cal can put together here against McMaster Maroon. They have not a lot of terrain to work with here. They've got just the smallest bit of hills, the slightest of dips that they can hide behind. And McMaster can just kind of sit pretty in their spot here, waiting for those heads to peek out.
And they're gifted the zone one more time. McMaster Maroon has had it this whole map. Cal, I think, has found a healthy rotation. 5 kills for Cal as well, so about even right now. Placement points are always good, but I mean, as we kind of said last week as well, a lot of these teams need to be focusing on the kills, and I think Cal now has no choice but to make that push onto McMaster Maroon. It's just going to be if they can knock them out from inside this compound. But Kingdom is going to get found first.
Yeah, Kingdom being the trail end here, unfortunately gets picked off here. Magnum looks like he's spotted out Frodo. He's trying to take the shots in, but Sir Lemon's going to come around and he's going to spot him. And that might be the signal to go here for Maroon. Nope. They're just going to go ahead and stay in their own spot here. Finish off Kingdom plays. They know that Zavrin and Magnum here are going to have to move in at some point. They can only hide for so long.
Yeah, Zavrin, gets a nice knock onto bot. It's all going to be about getting those flushes and getting points, as I think Cal is in a really difficult position. They're not quite in the zone. This is phase 8, which means phase 9. The final phase is directly in the center of McMaster's compound. They don't have to move. They could just hold it and let Cal come to them, which is exactly what's happening, because Magnum, without even stopping to heal, is just making that push. Oblivion, the ace, going for that res on bot, is going to give Cal the opportunity to finally push into the zone, but again, there's not really a lot of places to hide here.
Yeah, I think those were their last 2 smokes, and they were trying to. I mean, I understand what they were trying to do. They got the down on the bot. They had the last 2 smokes, tried to put them down, and tried to make a rush there to see if they could maybe get into the compound. Unfortunately, McMaster Maroon, they're going to spot that out all day long, and Sir Lemons and Frodo, I think, were the ones that were spotting them out. So McMaster Maroon comes in that first place spot with 8 kills overall. You can never be too disappointed about that. They definitely got some circle luck there, but them's the breaks.
Yeah, I mean, really great play. Great first game. Miramar, obviously, it's a different beast. It's a different animal than Sandhawk and Erangel, and some teams really flourish here. But oftentimes the map RNG can be a really wild factor. We saw some teams that really didn't let that get to them. Even though RIT went out early, they did rack up a lot of kills to start. Dakota Wesleyan just dominated this game, even though they didn't take the victory in the end, with Master really holding out that compound with patience. It paid off. They were able to take up the victory, even if they didn't walk away with 16 kills. But, now as we go into Sandhawk, which is the complete opposite style of Miramar, it'll be interesting to see how the teams do because we had some not so great Sandhawk rotations last week where I think we saw about 20% of the players fall to the zone because they just sat too long in the blue.
It was definitely a little bit rough there on Sandhawk. It was one of those southern circles on the eastern island. I believe if that was, I think that's what it was, or was that the?
I think it was an Alpha Island.
Was it? Yeah. It was an Alpha. That's right. Okay, so it was the. I'm getting my games confused here. So yeah, basically the only thing I can say, eyes on Dakota Wesleyan. When you have a game like that where you pop off exponentially, getting 16 kills, having that be on your first game of the day just sets things up for the rest of your day, the rest of your 3 games rather. I would expect DWU to get some serious points here in NC State. Better watch their backs.
I definitely agree. I mean, we've seen that some teams will have a really good match, maybe fall apart, and others will have a good match and carry on it through the day. With that said, guys, we are going to go to an intermission for just a couple of minutes while we get set up for Sandhawk here. Game number 2. This is day number 2. We'll have a total of 16 matches played across 4 days, so 4 games tonight. And the winner will be the team with the most points across all 16 games. So as you can see right now on the leaderboard, we've just got the points from day 1. We'll have it updated with points from this Miramar match in just a moment and let you guys know how all the teams are doing on their standings. If you've got a favorite, someone that you're here to cheer on, do let us know in the Twitch comments. And we'll see you guys in just a moment. All right, guys, we are back. We are on Sandhawk, and it's me, Clover, joined by Porosaurus as we resume day 2, game number 6 now of 16, as we see how our top 16 teams fare out in the grand finals of season 6. And we talked about it just a little bit before the break, but we've seen some insane plays and rotations on Sandhawk. It has not been kind to some of these teams, and we're already kind of pre-guessing where we thought the circle was going to go for this map. So any predictions? You think we're going to have an Alpha Island circle? Maybe we'll go north. Maybe we'll finally have that Magnai finish.
Oh boy, I hope that we just see a nice casual Eastern circle here for everyone. And there you go. Hey. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, we had a lot of teams elect to go to the north here. And it looks like we've got Dakota Wesleyan, Mississippi State, and McMaster Maroon all kind of were right on top of each other. And now they're doing this kind of split thing between Cal, Tapmock, and points due south. Meanwhile, RIT over in Paradise and GCU kind of doing a split towards the west as well. But LSU kind of looking good towards the center here in Bonn.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice center play. Something that LSU oftentimes will push for. When that first circle pops, if they find themselves outside of the center, they'll quickly rotate to it. So here they're not going to have to do that. But Florida State is going to get a knock at it. It was Mellow Panda. They did a 2-2 split as well. Almost didn't notice them as first, as the other half is in Hot 10. But Mellow Panda taking out one member of McMaster Maroon. So getting the first kill on the board for the second game.
Yeah, this feels like McMaster Maroon. I feel like that maybe they got either bullied out of their normal spot, or they were trying something new here and didn't realize that that Florida State does this 2-2 between Hot 10 and the east side of the river here, because this is kind of something that Florida State Garnet does do. And unfortunately, Maroon is going to get picked off, or at least one player get picked off here. They're going to continue to move forward. They're going to just claim a compound for right now. It doesn't look like they're going to try to push over into Mellow Panda or try to be over aggressive. They're just going to kind of take their lumps and move on.
Yeah, and I mean, just to the north as well, I took a quick break at the mini-map, and it looks like in the same direction, we're starting to see Mississippi State make that similar rotation, pushing towards the direction of Paradise, but still really close to McMaster at the distance. I'm not quite sure if they could hear McMaster Maroon. They definitely saw the parachutes as we see them investigating the nearby compounds where McMaster Maroon could have landed. But Mississippi State quick on this rotation as well. Sandhawk phase 1 might be a little bit slow if you're not paying attention, but those circles really garner up speed, and it's where we start to see a lot of teams fall to the zone in phases 4 and 5 because they're just caught off guard from their rotations, not prepared for the direction the circle might be taking them. And maybe some teams learned from that mistake last week, as we're seeing these early rotations, even some vehicle movement already as phase 1 is starting to move.
Tell you who I'm kind of interested in looking at right now is RIT. We said that they were playing a little bit more aggressive there in game number 1. They managed to get 6 kills despite going out early. Now they looted up in Paradise, and instead of pushing south or towards the center of the circle, they're going north to the edge, because I feel like they saw all those teams dropping up to the north towards Tapmock and towards Cal, and maybe trying to put themselves in a position where they can feed off of that.
I definitely agree. RIT is looking for those kills, but speaking of kills outside of boot camp, we've got 3 different squads that have found one another, as it looks like Arizona State, a little sandwiched here between Cal and Florida. As Florida State gold picking in the moving Kingdom plays, along with Zovrin, is going to get players down to go down to Florida State. I think it's going to be 3 now as well. This is not looking good. Oof. Flashy rotated to the opposite side of the hill, and that's going to be enough to keep him alive at Cal Esports. Sovereign picking up 3 kills.
Man, that was quick and efficient there by the Cal squad. While all that was going on, Arizona State crashed into McMaster Maroon, and it looks like McMaster Maroon's going to lose another player here, as Frodo and Bot are just going to try to leave, get out of there. Oblivion the Ace just bleeds out. Kind of overseen by LSU, and Arizona State in a compound just next to that. But look to the north here. We got 3 teams that all might crash onto each other here. Mississippi State, RIT, and Grand Canyon.
RIT with a crazy rotation. We saw them head northeast out of Paradise, walking all the way back in a loop, pulling into MSU, but right behind them is GCU. Hip is going to be the first one to get that first knock. Trying to throw that nade to get that flush here onto JT&T. And that is going to land perfectly, but here come the bullets now as Hip has been found and Ruby's looking for more members. She's going to find one. That Swagnar finds her as Ruby's gets knocked down, and Pavlichenko takes her out but gets knocked himself. RIT wiped out so quickly. Unfortunately, the sandwich from GCU.
They just were not expecting the push from GCU. It's just the worst possible timing there for RIT, and it looks like Happy Feet might actually be able to come around. Prodigal Knight just laying there, trying to survive for a little bit longer as his teammates bleed out. It looks like GCU is just going to clean up a bunch of kills off of this. They do have to be quick about it, though, because you can see Dakota Wesleyan is about to do to GCU what GCU just did to RIT.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very busy corner. As you said, a lot of teams landed north. A lot of teams saw each other's parachutes, and instead of focusing on pushing into the zone, these teams all focused on pushing in one another. And it really here it's good for a squad at a time, and then another squad comes in, and then another squad comes in. And through that, we've seen multiple deaths. One full wipe so far, so we're down to 15 teams. It was RT that went out, but Dakota Wesleyan is actually going to take this wide, and oh, how has Prodigal Knight not been spotted? Oh, there we go.
It was close, though. It was very close. And actually, Grand Canyon gonna get a little bit of a reprieve here as Dakota Wesleyan just moves up and around. It looks like they might actually be putting themselves in a position where they can spot GCU coming out of these compounds as they move into this next circle. So that's a little bit of bad luck, but GCU already sitting on 5 kills, so they're feeling pretty good about things. Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, we did lose both Florida State and UCF. Black is, it looks like DW making that push. Fry's going to get knocked Happy Feet down to 36 HP, pulling back to heal. And as we said, I mean, one team pushes in, wipes out, another team pushes in, but let's see if Dakota Wesleyan keep us alive a little bit longer. Ooh. Sneak attack is low. Gotta go for the res right buttons. Now. Gumdrop buttons. He tried to get he got the down, he tried to get the flush on it, but immediately coming to the aid of sneak attack and kind of saving his life essentially was Fry. He got the quick down and onto Gumdrop before he could finish flushing that out. But it's 2 players here for GCU, but they're giving DWU everything they can handle. Yeah, Jay Good pushing wide. He's gotten a couple shots onto DWU. He is suppressed. I don't know if they realize quite yet where he is, but they're making it a little bit difficult for Happy Feet to make that push onto Gumdrops, but Jay Good is going to have this rotation here. He's just going to have to work quickly as Nick is starting to make that push, pushing away from the rest of his squad mates, trying to find an angle on the rest of GCU here, but GCU is going to have to take out Dakota if they want to get away from this compound. There's just no other way about it as we start to see this rotation. Jay Good's going to make an attempt, though, as they try to cross the street, put some distance between them here.
And they might actually get away with this, too, because it looks like Dakota Wesleyan is just pulling off of this completely, getting into that compound at the top of the hill, and GCU can now afford to just keep their wrap going off to the west. And I mean, this is only Circle 2, so they can afford to eat this damage. So that fight looks like it might be finished. Meanwhile, on the western side of the map, we got another one about to break off.
Ooh, yeah, Cal Esports finding Central Florida gold as Zofran is going to get Ox Johnson down, but Nomad Wrath doing some damage on Michi Boy. Nicely thrown nade, but it's just going to be too short. If it had a little bit more distance, it would have landed perfectly onto Zofran, who's found himself atop a rock. Zofran has just been scary so far today. 3 kills in this match alone. It looks like he's got Dragon pinned down behind a tree as Nomad found out by Michi Boy in Kingdom Plays. Ooh, a nade is thrown.
Good flank position for Kingdom.
Oh, more nades. It is raining nades there. Yeah. Another player down, and it's just up to Span. She is the last one still standing for her squad.
Oof. And So Span will survive this for now. UNCC had an opportunity to try to come up from below, from the low side of the hill there, and third party that fight, but instead they decide to go and make their way further into circle, not wanting to take the risk of losing anybody to UNCC, who had the high ground position, or to Cal rather, who had the high ground position. So smart shot calling on the part of UNCC there. We'll have to see how long Span Cargo can survive. She is pretty good snake.
Yeah, she
right?
really is. I mean, Span Cargo, I know she's not the official IGL, but she's really great at call-outs, placements. I mean, if she's the last player alive, I think she could make it far. She did spot out UNCC early, but let's switch now down to the south. It's NC State University. It's at it again with Marietta. That nicely thrown nade. Regimes, K-Pat getting res here by Crawfresh. NCSU has not had a good day to start. It is only Rico Rodriguez left for Marietta, so it's now or never. Needs to get that push. Taking down the door, he spotted them.
Oh, Rico reading that situation so well. Unfortunately was not able to get up there before the res came off, but now he's coming alive here. He spotted out Crawfresh. Oh, Crawfresh, good shot.
Is going to take out Regimes. No, but sorry, it was only the knock. Crawfish going right back up for the pickup again. So Rico so close. If he had just aimed for K-Pat, it might have been able to knock up that kill here. But as NCSU is going to hopefully get off those reses, it sounds like somebody has found their Roni and is popping the tires in their getaway vehicle. I mean, when in Rome, I suppose. But I'm not quite sure which angle this is.
Cal.
Is it?
It's pretty much the only person I think that could be taking this. I think it was Mitchie Boy.
Getting Jura finding a crate, but
confirmed.
yeah. Oh, Cal walking right into Span Cargo. Oh,
This could be danger. We've seen players.
Yep. No.
Almost got him. Got him.
Zovran really low, but is going to be it for her as Cal now coming in strong. You know, they usually perform really well in Sandhawk. This is their map. And really, especially for some teams that maybe don't do so well on Erangel or struggled a bit on Miramar, when you know that this is your map, milk it for all it's worth. Get every point that you can, because every point is going to matter. It's going to come down to, I think, just a handful by the time we're done.
Well, Zovran already has the 6-piece and the biscuit. He just needs the mashed potatoes now, as Cal's running with 7 kills so far. Zovran with the lion's share of those. But Cal with 4 strong late game is a scary thing to behold. We'll have to see what they can do here, as they are kind of on this western edge. They've got GCU, as you said, off to the north, very close. And it looks like they have been spotted by UNCC and McMaster Maroon as well.
Ooh, and GCU is going to get that knock onto Kingdom Plays, spotted out by Happy Feet, but Mitchie Boy luckily is close by and should get that res off. So we've got 20 seconds until the next phase. Whoa, you were right. UNCC has perfect line of sight on this fight, and Mitchie Boy is going to go down as well from a distance too. All players of UNCC now eyes turned. I think once you see the names in the kill feed, it almost kind of turns up the dial, the desire to get that flush and take them down. There's a lot of banter between these teams when they're not on the field together. All week long, they've been preparing for this, and, you know, it creates some rivalries. So Mitchie Boy being one of them. I think a lot of these people would love to have the chance to take him out, as GCU reading that situation as well, and is going to push for the flush. Happy Feet coming up right on Mitchie Boy here.
Magnum is going to get the res on the Kingdom, though, but he's going to get immediately traded down by Happy Feet. Kingdom will go prone, get the heal off. Can he turn things around? No, he cannot. It's all down to Zovran, who had the smoke cloud. He was holding the flank here from J Good, wasn't able to see things coming from the top side of the hill, though. So Cal down to just 1, but he is inside circle. Oh my goodness.
LSU is butter me nasty, getting Zovran down to 27. I think he read the situation correctly, knowing that GCU wasn't the only enemy here, that a lot of different players were going down to different teams on their squad and getting out of here and into a safe area where snipers aren't going to be able to get to him from atop of this hill, and Zovran continuing to push into the zone. The last player, though, I mean, maybe we jinxed it. You know, 4 players strong Cal Esports is scary, but Zovran solo is another sight to behold. He's such an insane player, even if he's the last one alive. So never say never here for Cal Esports.
Absolutely. You can't take a good player for granted, even when he's a solo. As we see, the circle has popped. We only have a couple of teams that still have to make their way in. LSU to the north, Grand Canyon rotating around to the north as well. So, of course, our two purple teams going to be fighting right on top of each other. They have Arizona State in between them, and it looks like Arizona State might be getting crashed here, get some visitors very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, Jay Good and Happy Feet, 7 kills amongst them for GCU. Started off really strong, getting some kills, a wipe onto RIT, but as Zez Games now is realizing that he's got company. Gumdrops down so low. I'm not sure if GCU realized right away that somebody was here, but now that Happy Feet goes down, see Gumdrops getting as far under as he can to pop off those meds. And Jacob's just going to go for the res. I mean, no time like the present.
Oh, good push from Zez. Oh,
Ooh. No. Spotted out, and so is Polish here. Time to join the fight. Gumdrops goes down. Jay Good is low. And LSU now back into this fight as well, as we can hear the bullets flying from across the street. Buttery Nasty hoping to pick off what's left of GCU. Stealing these kills from ASU, but... Oh, Jay Good. UNCC, again, from distance. UNCC... pulled away from a couple of these close-range fights, found the zone, found some safety, and found some snipers, and it has been working well for them this match.
Yeah, we've been looking at UNCC starting to come alive here. 4 kills for themselves. Definitely a decent team. And when you give a decent team a good compound and plenty of scopes, they can make magic happen, as UNCC is showing right now. NC State, though, our overall leader, still alive, still 3 strong. And it looks like Deadbuster and Pluis might be looking to come out there and see if they can maybe sneak a kill off NC State here.
Ooh, and there go the shots. It looks like Deadbuster, like you said, now making the push. Crawfish holding this compound, waiting for that pop. UNCC going just too far wide that he may not spot them from this angle. Regimes is actually busy with a different squad, but Crawfish spotting out Deadbuster down. Here comes the push from UNCC.
Oh, but they need to be careful because, as you said, NC State is very widespread here. So they've got multiple lines of sight on this K-Pad actually going to land a few into Pluis, and that's going to be enough to scare UNCC back to their compound, as NC State somehow sitting on 7 kills right now, despite being down to 3. Haven't really seen how they've made their way into this circle, but they've been quite productive throughout the early game.
NC State has their set drop on Sandhawk. It is the southeast corner. And with this circle, it's really worked well for them. WPI, though, meanwhile, has been spotted out. As we go back to the north, LSU rotating now into Dakota Wesleyan, who is still 4 players strong. And Fry is going to line up, but I think I may have crashed. Did we crash? Oh, PUBG, not good to me today. As do you feel like radio voicing? Well,
I will radio voice it all the way here. So LSU trying to make their way into Dakota Wesleyan, but they realize that they have the poorer position here. Dakota Wesleyan has the high ground, has terrain that they can hide behind. So LSU taking shots, but not committing to the push. They're just going to go ahead and regroup on this northern side. The new circle pops. Once again, McMaster Maroon feeling like geniuses because Frodo and Bot are in the only compound inside this circle. A little bit of UNCC's compound in on the southern side. Dakota Wesleyan, meanwhile, will keep their high ground position on the eastern edge. It's just a question of how long will it be before NC State spots them out, rotating in from that same eastern side. Meanwhile, Arizona State has to make their way across the road. If they're going to make it into this new circle, they're going to have to do it under the watchful eyes of UNCC. Zavrin, meanwhile, our final player from Cal, is still snaking it out and staying alive right now, playing on side of a rock. It looks like LSU is going to push the compound occupied by McMaster Maroon. No downs coming yet. The grenades are coming out from both squads. Frodo taken to about half health. HD Beast taken low. Garrett's going to go down as now DWU is coming in from behind. 2 players down for LSU. HD Beast, Buttery Nasty trying to push in. They're going to find Bot, take him out. Frodo now the last player. Dakota Wesleyan, they're going to continue their push and wrap around here. HDB's going to try to go for the res onto Garrett and not going to find it, as he's going to have to pull off. He is the only player left alive for LSU, and he is going to get taken from behind by Dakota Wesleyan as they now push on. They have 7 kills, 4 strong. Frodo, the only player left alive for McMaster, as he is hiding in a corner of this compound. It looks like Dakota Wesleyan's going to look for him. He's going to find sneak attack. He'll get the flush as well, as Frodo will take one with him to the grave. Dakota Wesleyan, though, will get the down onto him. They are back to 3 strong. Looks like UNCC, meanwhile, has pushed into NC State. Crawfresh, the only player left for NC State.
Awesome. Well, I unfortunately do have a known bug, guys, that we do know about Observer, where an Observer will crash out and it will take 2 attempts to get back in. I do apologize, but Poro's doing quite well for us as I restart one more time to try to get us back in.
Well, while that was going on, Arizona State did manage to make their way across the road. They came up and got the drop onto UNCC, but UNCC quickly dispatched with them. Overrated jumps went down, but will be rezzed here, as UNCC now up to 8 kills. Crawfresh still alive for NC State. He's the solo player. He's barely inside the circle on the southeastern edge. Meanwhile, Dakota Wesleyan are working all the way around from the north. Actually, Nick is going to spot out Crawfresh there, as they are now up to 9 kills. Dakota Wesleyan and UNCC are the last 2 full teams remaining. Zovrin somehow has survived for Cal, snaking his way up. Dakota Wesleyan has lost 1. They have 3-man squad. UNCC kind of playing grouped here, deathballing from the south side, while DWU has elected to take a 2-1 split. They've left Nick off to the northeast, and he's going to get taken very, very low. He's been spotted out.
Ooh, and I'm back in as...
All right,
there we go. Zovrin sticking very close to Dakota Wesleyan. Matt Sterrett's going to get a knock, and Zovrin realizing now or never to get the points. This is a late circle phase 8. Oh, and he finds Matt Sterrett. Matt falling down, but Zovrin now spotting out Fry. And that is it for Dakota Wesleyan. We said it before. Never discount a good player, even if they're solo. Zovrin able to climb up to the top 5 players alive. We've got 2 out for UNCC, and his overrated jumps tries to get that res towards Storm Pluis, spotting out Zovrin, but he's going to get the kill in UNCC. Picking a victory here, and Sandhawk, as I got in just in time to view it, with 9 kills. They played really well today here on Sandhawk. Congratulations, guys.
UNCC needed that boost so bad. Coming into this game, rather, they were in 15th place. Not a lot of points. I think they were sitting on 10 overall. So they managed to pick up 19 there, all said and done, between kills and points. Zovrin, 8 kills by himself. What is this man drinking?
I mean, Zovrin has been a wild person to watch. Cal Esports is full of a bunch of really great players, but Zovrin has the ability to switch his style on a dime. Zovrin is scary by himself as well as with 4 players, and if you had to have one person left alive, I mean, Zovrin is definitely the person to carry you into this. Getting 2 in that last moment, this is great. Sandhawk is a difficult map for some squads because you're doing a lot of on-foot close rotation. There's a lot of third partying. We see that third partying really hurt many of these teams today, but UNCC and Cal Esports just taking full advantage of that, and it really worked well for them here as they took first and second, as well as Dakota Wesleyan, who also racked up a lot of points for this match as well. I think we're going to see some shifting here for those top few teams after the end of today if Erangel goes the way that Miramar and Sandhawk did.
I mean, right now it was very close. NC State still holding the lead going into this game. I think they were 8 points ahead of Cal. Cal manages to pick up 9 in a second place, but NC State going out in 4th with another 8 themselves. So somebody's got to do something about the problem that is NC State. Somebody is going to have to slow them down, because they're managing, even on games where they go out early, they're getting just a stack of kills to go along with it. They're adding to their lead. Nobody is going to be able to catch up to them if they keep doing that. So it's going to be interesting to see how these last 2 games on Aragon play out.
I definitely agree. With that said, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back with our last 2 matches of the evening, and then we'll look at our leaderboard and see how all these teams are doing, as we'll be halfway through our grand finals event, as we'll have 2 more days after today for the teams to play, rack up points, and the team with the most points will walk away with winnings. In fact, the top 5 teams will walk away with winnings. So stick around, and we'll be back with more PUBG in just a moment. right, guys, we are back and on Erangel. I'm Clover, joined here by Porosaurus. Poro,
Yo.
I'm so happy. We're home. We're at Erangel, and this is going to be a make or break for some teams today who might have struggled on both Miramar and Sandhawk, but maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with circles and style of play that we'll expect on Erangel. That said, this is not a terrible flight path. It's still pretty close to the south, but I think most drop points short of Severny are within easy reach.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen worse recently. As we've been seeing a lot of like super far south plane paths, which cut off pretty much anything farther north than Pachinki, really. Razak has even been kind of a struggle, but it looks like Yaz is going to be in there. Georgia Pole, probably the only thing that won't see any action. We do have one team dropping on Military Island. Looks like that'll be Arizona State. As we wait to see where the circle comes.
Ooh.
Okay.
Arizona's, they're in the zone for now. It's not a terrible circle. Ferry Pier and part of Millie is still in as well. I think maybe the circle will probably be here up through phase 3. But just looking to start, I mean, UCF Gold, UCF Black, great positions for this zone. Even RIT here in Pachinki, as we can see, our more aggro squads are getting in the vehicles and they're already making moves. I mean...
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
You kind of have to on this circle because when you have these southwestern circles, there are certain spots on the map to hold that are so much more powerful than others. Certain spots that you can take and spot people out in transition. You can get maybe some cheap early downs onto some of these teams that are trying to make their rotations inside, or you could try to take whatever high ground positions you can spot out here just north of Quarry, kind of around the area that UCF Gold is in. What I would like to see from UCF Gold and UCF Black is for them to finish doing their looting as quickly as possible and take those spots immediately early. It looks like, I mean, you can see UCF Black over there in Gatka, UCF Gold kind of split here just south of Gatka, but there are spots on those hillsides over there that are very, very strong to play and that they have priority on right now.
Mm-hmm. And, I think as well, Everest has been very popular on our Erangel circles, especially when it's in those first or second phases. I don't know if we'll see a team rotate it just yet. Given this location, Georgia Pole Hospital ruins completely untouched. Quarry even, Primorsk. I mean, these are all really great places with loot and no teams in. But as we start to see these teams rotate and look for that safe spot in the position, test compounds, scout ahead, I think that's where we're going to start to see who's going to take this. Everest has been a really good but deadly place for so many teams, and I would really like to see someone go to it, but at the same time, I mean, chopsticks, these compounds all around it, the compounds just outside of Quarry to the west. These are really high-value places as well to take early on, especially with a phase like this. This still has water in it to start, so you're not quite sure, is it going to go south? Is it going to hold on to Millie a little bit longer, finish closer to Ferry? There's a lot of opportunities here, but now as we take a look at the east, we can see multiple teams rotating in on one another. I don't know, might get a little sticky here as it looks like Marietta is about to cross paths with LSU. Black Boleto, Butterby Nasty, really setting up to intercept. Whether or not they're going to fight, Butter's thinking about it.
Ships passing in the night, it seems. I mean, they've already sent Little Penguin and is way, way off towards the center of the circle already. Kind of scouting out the position that I was hoping that UCF Gold would be interested in taking, but they're not going to take it. Trovomois going to take a few shots at Garodan there, but not really find anything. Meanwhile, it looks like GCU might run into McMaster Maroon here on the south. Not sure. It's very close.
Yeah, it looks like GCU just getting a feel for the compound. Gumdrops has already taken shots at Bot, who's instead getting in the car with McMaster, driving away, but clown karting is very dangerous. And McMaster now heading right into UCF Gold's Ox Johnson and Nomad Wrath. Could, potentially do some damage here, but it looks like McMaster's going to go for the crash first.
They didn't have a choice. That was how they pushed onto it. Nomad Wrath now going to try to find a way to get an angle here on the bot. No, Ox Johnson going to take into about half health here. UCF Gold not getting any support for quite some time here. They're going to have to 4v2 this for the time being. It looks like Span and the other teammate, I'm not sure who it is.
Looks like it is
on there.
Dragon Legends with Span
Dragon
Cargo. And also driving right in with the US. They're going to go for the crash as well and try to help out their teammates. But here comes Sir Lemons for McMaster Maroon driving right on by as well. So we've got a 4v4 between McMaster and UCF Gold.
McMaster Maroon going to try to dip on this. They hop back into the vehicle, and it looks like they're actually going to get away for now. But Nomad Wrath going to take a few nice shots before they end up getting out of the line of sight. And
meanwhile, I think UCF
disaster
Black,
narrowly avoided.
you know, almost hard to catch because we do have UCF, two UCF teams, but in Gatka, UCF Black doing a number here on Marietta as Black Boleto is going to get fleshed out. Yanta picking up 2 kills there for UCF Black, but trying to avoid, I think, the last of the damage. Throwing nades, but nobody's left here. UCF Black unsure that they have won out Gatka, at least for now, is Trevor Mora, the last one alive from Marietta.
Unfortunate there for
Marietta.
Marietta.
Wait, no.
Well, they do have
Diotati. Yeah, Diotati's still here. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of the consequence of taking these taking a little bit too long to loot, or taking a little bit longer of a time to loot before making your way in. I'm kind of slapping the wrist virtually here of RIT as they are just now making their way out of Pachinki. And they're going to be pulling right on top of Cal here. It looks like sharing the compounds just to the north of Chopsticks. Cal, we remember, played that compound. I think they won from this compound just to the north of Chopsticks.
They did.
Last week.
It was a wild play by Cal, who really set themselves up pretty here. RIT pushing in as Iceman is actually going to make a lot of noise. Kingdom plays breaking ahead from Cal, taking shots, and that's going to give all the information that RIT needs. Know that somebody is here, but they're still unaware of who that is.
Well, if they've done their research, they should know. They should. I mean, this is Cal.
Ooh.
Oh, and they're gonna know now as they got the down onto the big boy, Zovrin. The raid boss is down. Does that mean that RIT decides to push this? You can see Rubies and Iceman. They look like they want a piece here.
Yeah, Magnum already moving the buggy. I think they're trying to salvage some type of vehicles here. Cal already thinking about an exit plan from this, but as you saw all today, RIT has really been trying to up their game, play more aggro, and get kills. But now as they're taking on shots from another angle, not coming from Cal, pulling back in again because these shots are coming from the south, and they're not quite sure
LSU.
from which direction.
LSU going to save Cal a little bit of a headache there, as their shots from the south, as you said, are going to push or pull RIT off of their hard push. And that's smart from RIT, because if you are going to push that, you want to push it from as many angles as you can. You want to go in wide. It looks like UNCC is coming to UCF Gold here as their problems just continue to mount.
Ooh.
Ox Johnson trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, UNCC just coming off a win from Sandhogs. Ox Johnson going around wide, but he is going to get found out by, I believe it was Dead Buster. But UNCC isn't going to get any reprieve. ASU rotating into this compound now, and bullets are going to continue to rain as they do a quick loot of what's left of UCF and pull back into the compounds, now prepping for ASU's rotation as Arizona taking a wide approach around on this ridgeline. But it looks like already pulling back away.
Yeah, and this spot where Arizona State is playing from, that's where I wanted UCF Gold to play from, but I think unfortunately they were kind of forced to push into. Oh my God, what is this circle?
Yeah, I was just about to say,
hell?
I might have accidentally jinxed it when I called out that this could still be a ferry pier circle with the late military still in. It looks like it's what we got, and with that, we're having a lot of teams rotate in from the north. Some of these teams were setting up for that long play, similar to some of those rotations that we've had previously season as the map has continued to hold on to Everest. Obviously, that's not the case, but UCF Black, Marietta, Cal, UNCC, all these teams continuing to rotate into one another. DWU finding WPI.
Oh, LSU McMaster Maroon.
Beast going down, has been found out. Bot low pulling back for the heal. Frodo's going to do the same, but nades are out. Meanwhile, it looks like UNCC is going to take out Marietta.
Mary McMaster Maroon pulled up here in the clown car, and I don't think LSU was expecting it. Beast will go down to the flushing grenade from Frodo. So LSU now trying to reposition here to see if they can find some kind of angle here. Lil Penguin maybe has the best shot, but again, this is Air Eagle 2.0, so all of this stuff here, unless they've played around it before, unless they've fought around it, this is going to be kind of new. And a little bit more obnoxious for these LSU boys, as I think they are going to pull off of this. It looks like Garriden's already sending it.
No, and Penguin completely pinched now by all 4 players of McMaster Maroon as Arizona State's pushing in right behind them. McMaster needs to finish this play onto LSU before they get surprised by Arizona here, but here comes Bot and Frodo right onto Penguin as Penguin gets the knock onto Oblivion the Ace. This is going to pick up that kill. What the flush. Bot coming in for Little Penguin. He is going to go down.
Oh, that's so close. And now Bot's going to go down to range here from ASU as they kind of come in. They find an angle onto Sir Lemons. Sir Lemons gets taken extremely low.
1
I think that was part of me
HP.
nasty that actually got him down to, 1 HP.
Oh, and here's the nade by Arizona. If this could land before Lemons gets that first nade off, it might be enough, but it's going to go way too wide here. But as Sir Lemons makes that rotation, here's Fear to Fort. Ooh.
Oh. Polish going to get that down, and honestly, Butterme Nasty using that as an opportunity to escape, keep LSU in this game. Frodo is going to do the same for McMaster Maroon as ASU has just come in at the worst possible time for both of these teams, and they managed to pick up 2 kills off of it, at least.
And meanwhile, it looks like Dakota Wesleyan just picked up a kill running over Daddy Rob as they continue rotating in from the blue zones. We've got teams trapped out in the blue, taking that wide rotation towards Primorsk. There's still so much water into play, and I think everyone's trying to figure out how to get close to Ferry Pier. We're only in phase 2. There's still plenty of opportunities for surprises with this zone, but that doesn't mean that these teams can't continue to let down their guard, as there's not going to be a lot of safe places to hold from this corner here since we've got so much water still in play. I'd say only about 60% of the map is playable right now, and we still have water. It is Ferry for sure. But look what's happening off to the east. RIT spotting out, looks like Mellow Panda and the rest of Florida State Garnet.
And they have to finish this fight off really quickly because they've got to make their way across the street and into the hills. You can see It's Your Wi-Fi going to have to get that heal off. Does so in a fairly good time here. Ruby's wide flanking. It's kind of dangerous. She is wide out in the open. If Twiggy Smalls gets an angle here, he could be...
Ooh, Ruby's is going to spot Twiggy's first. Oh, but It's Your Wi-Fi with that information. We get damage onto Ruby's. She's still alive, but Iceman needs to make that push with Hip right now, or Ruby's is going to be in a really difficult place here as Twiggy's tries to finish her off.
Great push from Wi-Fi, as you said, came over at the exact right time. He's going to find Mixer. He's going to find Wi-Fi. Mellow Panda going to go down to Hip here as Ruby's manages to draw the attention of the entire Florida State squad, and they do not see the great flank coming in from Iceman and Hip, as RIT picks up a quick 4 kills on the Florida State. Very well done by that squad.
Yeah, I mean, we talked especially on Miramar. They really started out aggro today, hungry for those kills. Great, smart rotations. We're going to see them pick up here, but back in the northwest, it is going to be NCSU and WPI. It's K-Pad at the top of the hill, spots out McQuinty.
And this is just bad news for everybody in the lobby who's trying to catch up. WPI just getting taken by surprise here by NC State, and they're going to be feeding more kills over into the pockets of our first place squad. I think Winlow. Who's the last player up here?
Gideon Jura, and he was all the way on the waterfront. That's why we couldn't find him. It pushed the center circle for Ferry Pier, I think breaking away from his squad, trying to stay alive as long as he could, but Florida State Gold had other plans for him here. And back in the center, we've got more crashes now as UNCC makes the push onto Ferry Pier. McMaster Maroon, however, has been eliminated as Frodo found out by Arizona State, and it looks like the rest of LSU and GCU are in this fight as well. So back on the east, I mean, we've got a cluster in the east, a cluster in the west.
Yeah, this is going to be dicey here. Is RIT going to be making their way up from the hillside, but Arizona State could decide to come up over the top of this at any point and third party onto GCU, but it looks like they are looking at just making their way into the circle. Butterme Nasty should be able to survive here a little bit longer for LSU in that shack, but How can GCU defend against the push from this ravenous RIT squad who's been hunting kills all day?
And Hip is going to fall down to Gumdrops, so Swagnar's going to pick up some damage too, and that is the player to take down for RIT right now, as Hip has been on fire today, but Iceman trying to make the push. Can they finish off J Good? Gumdrops is low on health. Swagnar able to pop out that first aid kit, but he's going to fall down to Iceman again. He's down to 11 HP. Rubies!
That was so close. Happy Feet almost 1v2ing Hershey and Iceman here. Gumdrop Button's going to try to escape here, as RIT has just been on fire today, going after these kills, taking every single fight that they can get. It hasn't worked out well in terms of placement points, but they have been getting a bunch of kill points for themselves.
You know, and we talked about it too. Placement points might not always be enough to help if the teams that are sitting at the top are racking up 10, 15 kills every game. So even if you can't get that first place win, go for kills. Get 10 kills, 11 kills on the board. Even if you just get a little bit higher in placement, it's going to be enough to make that difference. But back again on the West, it looks like Florida State sharing a compound with Dakota Wesleyan, and talk about another team who's been playing really aggressive for the kills. Dakota Wesleyan today.
Oh no!
Oh.
Fry exploded the car, and the car moved forward and ran it over Flashy.
Oh. You hate to see it.
Unbelievable.
Well, Dakota Wesleyan is going to get a reprieve here. Matt Starrett with the res onto sneak attack. Phase 4, we've got 2 minutes for that Blues to close entirely, and Dakota's going to take that on foot, but Cal waiting for him. Zovran already with the shots out is going to knock down Fry. Well, it's not looking good for Dakota Wesleyan. I think they stayed a little overextended outside of the zone, and this is phase 4. This is when it starts to matter with that blue zone damage.
Unfortunate for them that they weren't able to finish that fight off with Florida State Gold a little bit quicker, and now you can see they're kind of scattering. Nick is just getting pelted from all sides by Cal, so Matt Starrett and sneak attack going to see if maybe going the route towards closer to the beach might be safer. Fry will go down, or bleed out rather, to the blue zone here, but even if DWU decides to try to go on the beach side, they've got to then push into UCF Black, who is holding down the Ferry Pier compound on the very western edge. Nick's still alive, though, so it might be safe. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, the circle finally pulling away from the water and away from Ferry Piers. Butterby Nasty has a nice position in the center. Kingdom plays and Magnum pulling back to the rest of Cal Esports. But Nick is, I think, for all intents and purposes, trapped on this side of the street. And that might not be a bad thing considering the circle, but it's been spotted out by Bondsguard, and UCF going to try to pick Nick off, as he's now kind of trapped between literally a rock and a hard place. This boulder, the only coverage he's got right now. 15 HP.
Nick just trying to stay alive for a little bit longer here. I don't think he's going to be able to make it much longer, but the good thing about him staying alive this long is that it is has kept UCF Black distracted enough to where they didn't see sneak attack and Matt Starrett wrapping around from the beach side. So Nick does end up going down to Zovran here, but 2 still alive and in the game for Dakota Wesleyan, and that's about as good as you could hope for coming out of the situation that they were in.
I definitely agree here. I mean, Dakota Wesleyan, really good at taking it back, changing what they can. This was a nice rotation, good place to be, but that circle is not going to be happy here. But luckily for them, UCF Black was already looking in that direction. I think maybe feeling a little overconfident that they might be alone in Ferry Pier. But back up at the north, right outside, looks like Gumdrops hiding out low from NC State, as RIT is now going to rotate into this compound, try and get some kills as well. Sitting pretty atop this hill, but is that going to be enough to get some more kills, especially against NCSU, who's in the zone for right now, but they will have to leave this compound for phase 6.
Yeah, I mean, RIT doesn't have to do anything here. They can just kind of hang out on this hillside, wait for this next circle. They're going to take some long-range shots, maybe over towards UNCC, maybe over towards ASU if they can get vision. I don't think they can. Meanwhile, Butterby Nasty, the only thing that's saving LSU at this point is that Arizona State has not been bored enough to throw a grenade into that shack. They've been constantly having to fight teams off from the western side. Now their attention turned over to Cal, and And look at this, NC State actually trying to do something interesting here. I think Regimes went and picked up a solo player there from out in the field, Winlow.
Yeah, as they make that rotation on Polish, I think taking a couple shots. ASU has good communication here, but they're starting to fall apart as Cal's making that push, losing line of sight. Polish just can't seem to take his eyes off the edge. He spotted Mitchy Boy tacked behind a tree. He's going to get that hit for 33, but Zovrin is lighting Polish up down to 54. Oh, and there he goes down now as well. Magnum is going to be the one to get that knock. So we've got a player for a player exchange. Oh. Meanwhile, Dakota Wesleyan is going to fall to Yanta as UCF Black is going to trade some kills with them. It's this Cal and Arizona State fight.
Well, the one thing that Cal has going for him is that they were able to throw down those smokes and get the res onto Mitchy Boy. Unfortunately, Polish was a little bit too far away from anybody from ASU to go and get that res. You can see they've smoked him out, but it's a little bit too late now as Butter the Toast trying to hold down the side. And oh no, Winlow is actually going to get involved. He's going to get the down in the flush onto Mitchy Boy. Cal down to just Kingdom here. He got the res onto Zovra, and ASU using that opportunity to get the res onto Polish. But this fight has kind of taken a pause here as it's just everybody going for reses, essentially. They can't even get the res on the Magnum now because the blue is pushing it.
Yeah, now Zovrin is spotted out. I Butter the Toast getting him down very low, but can't get the flush. Zovrin, once again, the last player still up for Cali Sports, but unfortunately is not able to take it home as he's been found by Fear the Fork, and ASU is going to rack up another kill. They pulled this rotation off. It was tough, but 6 kills now for this game on Erangel.
Really, really fortunate for ASU there. They held their line very, very well. You know, a question maybe not going for the res early, but in the end, they were right. They were correct in doing so. That meant that they were able to hold all their angles without having to push out. Eventually, they did get a little bit of help there at range from NC State, which obviously you can't, getting the down and the flush on the Mitchy Boy, you can't underestimate how important that was. But Arizona State now, as you said, 6 kills, complete control of this western side. Now they have to turn their attention towards the south here, where UCF Black and UNCC are going to have to make their way across the road.
Yeah, and it looks like Yanta already spotted out by UNCC, taking some damage there, but Pluis is actually going to fall down to Fear to Fork as ASU did, in fact, take that look south, but it looks like Dead is going for the res here as Overrated Jumps now trying to get some information back to his teammates. Is it UCF? Where is everybody? Where's the circle? They're going to have to cross the street. I mean, this is going to be a very ugly rotation for these two teams.
Yeah, this is kind of rough for Arizona State too, because they want to pay attention to the north side and keep an eye on NC State, but they also need to keep an eye to the south. I feel like they need to focus all their attention towards one direction here, and it looks like they are going to do that. They are going to come all over and see if they can pick off more kills out of this UCF Black UNCC fight. Deadbuster now the only player up for UNCC.
Yeah, and UCF also losing some players as well in that fight. It looks like Arizona trying to help out. Bondsguard has actually just got hit for 79 damage there from ASU, and we've got 57 seconds till that zone closes. Both of these squads need to cross the street, and Arizona is waiting for them. Meanwhile, Butterby Nasty of LSU is still right across the street. Hasn't made any movements, but he could ruin things here.
Ooh.
Oh, 6
Deadbuster.
HP.
So close there. He lays.
Founds.
Oh, Fear to Fork. You kidding me? Well, Deadbuster, being a bro, laid out a smoke wall for UCF Black to use here to get across the street, too. Bondsguard taking the time to maybe take a few shots over towards ASU. Might regret that, as he's now going to have to stop to heal. Those smokes are going to start going down pretty soon. They might as well use them to get over while they have the opportunity.
Yeah, I Butter the Toast still without a kill on the board. He has spotted Ogie, who's going to take a couple of shots, still up. But I Butter the Toast, I know once this as UCF continues to make that push, somehow still alive as Arizona's whiffed a couple of these shots. Bondsguard has found some safety in the ridgeline. Oh, and it looks like RIT making that push into NCSU is also starting to distract part of ASU as we see a couple of them break away to go take a look at what's happening up to the north. Oh, UCF Black. I Butter the Toast is going to pick up that kill. Bondsguard goes down. We're down to just 4 teams as we finally see the push that we've been waiting for. NCSU into RIT. RIT still 4 players strong. Winlow is going to get flushed out by Iceman.
Yeah, this was just unfortunate for NC State. They held that compound as long as they could, but they could never get the downs that they needed onto RIT to try to make a push out of it and try to take the fight over there towards them. So now it's just going to be ASU and RIT while Butterby Nasty just hides in the shack. ASU not checking this at all right now, and I mean, there's no real reason for them to. So Butterby Nasty might actually survive this.
I think they heard the motorcycle. We had some vehicle movement, and that was enough to get ASU to turn their attention to RIT as Crawfresh is going to bleed out to the zone. Surely ASU should be reading the kill feed knowing there's at least one player still alive for North Carolina State, and that is K-Pat, who has finally been able to push into the zone, has found safety, but Fear to Fork is going to go down, and it is Iceman is going to get that knock as I Butter the Toast going wide, I think may have spotted out Hershey. And this is just, I mean, this is a wild circle. Look at everybody of everything. Butterby Nasty has not moved in almost 3 phases now.
Hey, he hasn't needed to. And I got to tell you, RIT has just been looking so strong today. They did not, I mean, the Sandhawk game didn't really go their way, but this is kind of them building off of the success that they had in the Miramar game by playing aggressive, taking fights to the other teams rather than sitting back on their heels and waiting for the fight to come to them. The addition of Hip in here has been huge for them as they now are taking the fight over towards ASU, forcing ASU to be on the defensive.
Yeah, Hip just on the tails of I Butter the Toast. Looks like K-Pat, meanwhile, was found out by Zez Games. ASU is going to pick up that kill, and this is our top 3 teams, LSU, RIT, and Arizona State. As Butterby Nasty once again is in the center of the circle. I mean, he can sit here through phase 9 if he needs to. And nobody has, like you said, gotten bored and thrown a nade in the shack. Nobody's even checked. And given the numbers, if I was RIT and I knew it was 8 alive, I think, well, maybe it's us versus 4. And that could really come back to hurt them if they're not careful. Arizona has a little bit of an advantage. Let's see, there's 5 alive. They know there's at least 2 squads.
Well, they've spotted out 2. Rubies needs to be careful, though, because look, she's trying to go in for the flank, but Zez has a nice flank of his own. He's going to find Iceman. They're going to trade it out. Butter the Toast down to half HP as he's going to try to trade something back. He finds it. Hip. Now, the last player, or actually Hip and Rubies, they're surrounding, and now Zez is going to find Rubies, and that's what we were worried about. The good flank there from Zez Games. Huge, huge play from that ASU player.
Yeah, I mean, now Hip going for the res onto Iceman. He needs to get this off as quickly as possible. Iceman is standing up, but one nade could really ruin the day here. Hershey also hasn't bled out just yet, but as the circle continues to close, there might not be enough time here. Iceman and Hip instead rotating for the zone. And uh-oh, you're right. Here comes Zez right outside. He's not even paying attention. Oh, the door's open.
Oh, now he knows.
Pre-fire there from Buttery Nasty. I think he might have just gotten a little bored here. We're now down to our top 2 teams. It's Arizona and RIT.
Ooh, good shots coming out from Hip there. Gets Butter the Toast down to very, very low HP. Zez making sure to watch the other side here. They're expecting to get pushed from 2 different directions here, and that's the smart play here for ASU. But oh, what a good shot coming out from Hip. As I said, this player has been going absolutely bananas for RIT today.
Well, there we go. Trying to take out Zez Games, who was stopping for the res, but Zez is going to be able to take out Hip with a nice headshot before them. Meanwhile, Iceman, sitting on Hershey, was able to crawl ahead of the blue and get res. RIT staying alive long enough. If they could just take out Zez, I mean, that's it. That's a win for RIT and a well-deserved one if they could, but Arizona State also played amazing. Both these teams really deserve this win right now, and as we go into phase 9, it's going to be a matter of whether or not Zez can pull this off.
Oh, nice shots from Iceman.
Ooh.
Wow.
Rochester Institute taking victory here in the 3rd game of the evening with 14 kills spread well and evenly amongst all 4 players. So we can see Iceman with 6, Hip with 4, Rubies and Hershey each with 2. They had a great Miramar game. Unfortunately, their aggression did pick them up some points on Sandhawk, but found them squished between GCU and then later DWU. But it worked well for them here on Erangel into Game 3 as they finally pick up a well-deserved victory tonight.
I mean, 14 kills for RIT, 14 kills for ASU. I mean, these two teams were just fragging out from opposite sides of the map. It was basically a matter of time, essentially, before East and West collided in the center to see who would determine the winner. And it was about as close as it could get. I mean, if Zez goes for the res onto eye butt of the toast after he got the down onto hip, maybe that goes differently. I don't know. But I think Iceman going for the res onto Hershey and pushing that as 2 was the right call for RIT. Obviously, they end up getting the win in the end, but very, very well played from both of these squads. And it just, I mean, that was making lemonade out of lemons out of that crazy second circle shift.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I cast a curse, but I think something that's fun for us is we like to try and predict where these circles are going to go. I threw it out there saying, you never know, it could be Fairy Pier, and Fairy Pier is where it ended up being. We saw a lot of just a style change of play from so many of these squads. And like you said, I mean, RIT really dominating there on the East Coast, Arizona holding out the West really strong, and as these two forces came to meet, played well up into the end. I mean, Butterby Nasty holding on a little bit. LSU only picking up 1 kill, but Butterby Nasty holding on up to 3rd place somehow was not spotted in that shack for those last 4 phases that he'd been sitting there. But, you know,
sometimes
guys,
you get lucky.
That said, we've got one more Erangel match coming up, so stick around. We're going to go to a quick intermission, and we'll be back with our 4th and final game of the evening tonight. And then we've got 2 more days after this for all 16 of these colleges to play to see who is the best here in Collegiate Battlegrounds Association's Season 6. I'm Clover, this is Porosaurus, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back with our fourth and final match of the evening as we round out day 2 tonight for CBA Season 6 Finals. I'm Clover, joined tonight by the amazing Porosaurus. Pora, it's the last game of the night.
Yes.
I'm excited. I am so stoked. We were talking a little bit during the break about some of our predictions for some of these teams. We were taking another look at the leaderboard and seeing who really needed to work hard for this last match, and maybe who needs to start thinking of some different strategies for what is or isn't working versus how they've played for the whole season prior to the finals. So with that in mind, and such a beautiful flight path for Erangel, what are you expecting to see this last match?
Well, apparently I'm not expecting to see WPI play anywhere near each other because they are literally everywhere, all over the map here. Hopefully we don't see okay, good, I can say it. Hopefully we don't see a military circle. We are going to the northwest. This is my favorite. I absolutely love these circles. Hopefully it goes north of the river and we see those North George fields play out towards the end. Those are my absolute favorite.
Yes, I love a good Everest circle. Having Everest into play through that early, mid, and even late game is always something that's really fun to witness.
It's spicy.
It is so spicy, and it really shows players' abilities not only to fight at range, but also at close combat, because when you take Everest, you have to hold Everest, and you have to come down from Everest if the circle shifts away from it. And that's something that we've really, at least I've enjoyed for Season 6 here of CBA. But as we can also take another look, we've got teams that have landed all across the island and far away from this zone. We've got 2 teams on military compound. They're going to have to loot up quick and rotate. But just past military compound, we've got GCU waiting at the bridge. So a lot of opportunities for some early upsets for some of these squads. But at the same time, I mean, this is, like you said, WPI, what are they doing? Gideon Jura is still in the air, and he's high up in the air. I think he might be going for North George.
I mean, you know what? Why not? At this point, WPI needs kind of something to go their way, really. I mean, they're sitting in 14th place overall, which, by the way, our leaderboards have updated, casually referenced.
Well, let me flip them over while we have a little bit of downtime before all these teams take on one another. So guys, give me a quick sec. Let me refresh that one more time so you can see the updated scores, and we're going to see how we're sitting pretty going into the 4th game of the evening, and Rochester jumping up to 7th place after that victory last game. Arizona jumping up to 5th.
Yeah, both of those teams needed what they got. Essentially, they needed that big game, and RIT has been looking so good today, but it just goes to show how rough their first day was, that they've had a great Miramar. Well, I hesitate to say great. They had a high kill Miramar game where they placed low, a decent Sanhok game where they got a handful of kills, and then this last game, this great win that they've been looking like they've been heading towards for a while here, and they still only managed to get up to 7th place here. So, it just goes to show you need to kind of start turning things on if you're one of these teams in the lower part of the leaderboard. If you want to set yourself up for the back half of these finals to make moves, you've got to put yourself in striking distance now. You would love to see your team be finished at least in the top 8 after today.
I definitely agree here. I mean, we talked after week 1, some teams that we were expecting to do really well were sitting really low on that leaderboard. And now after a good day today, they're catching up. Some teams that had a really strong first day are struggling a bit to hold that momentum. So the teams, however, that have not been able to take that in days 1 and 2 really need to take that play, and they really need to finish strong today. UCF Gold is actually not looking so pretty down below. They've got a lot of kills, they've done damage, but they just can't get that top placement, and they just can't seem to rack up many kills. Mississippi State as well had a nice Miramar game at the beginning, but again, I mean, really struggling to clinch in the end. So as we round this out, let's go back over to the map and check everything out. It looks like GCU is already playing their bridge camp game.
And I was wondering if this would even happen, because I thought that GCU would be more concerned about getting into this first circle and getting an ideal spot. But McMaster, I guess, trying to do that fast rotation, they ended up rotating through before GCU had sent it, essentially. And so basically kind of the one time that rotating a little bit quicker did not pay off in their favor. McMaster losing 2 there early, GCU picking up 2 kills.
Oh,
What is...
Oblivion, the ace tried to cancel bandages.
Uh-oh.
And he accidentally canceled being in the car. Frodo's going to pull back and get that res. Sorry, guys, we did catch that on stream. Let's make that the clip of the week. Yeah. All right. But back on the West Coast, looks like we've got more rotations as well. Mukau from WPI isn't going to take shots on anybody for UNC, but back in the center, UCF Black found out by both Marietta and Cal Esports. We've got 3 squads of play here in this vicinity.
Yeah, UCF Black getting a little bit fortunate there. Cal doing this 2-2 split, trying to cover both bridges. Might be a little bit greedy here, but they may end up getting Trovomoy. They get him very, very low, but not enough to finish him off. Yeah, this split from Cal, you're covering both bridges, but in the end, having 2 on each side, I don't know if it's ever going to be enough to get that the vehicle explosion. I mean, you might be able to pick one off here and there, but it may end up being a little bit greedy if somebody figures out what you're doing or scouts it out.
Yeah, and as we can see now, taking a look at the map, everybody's already read out this play really quickly, pulled further up north, but Dakota Wesleyan is going to find out HD Beast, knock him out, and I think this is going to be an easy flush as Fry walking up there for the kill will take him out, and that's 1 player down for LSU who's not had a good day.
Yeah, LSU struggles kind of continuing. This is, you know, one of your top teams from the regular season, and they've just not been able to get their feet under them so far here on our first 2 days. They still have 3 up here, so we might be able to see them do something towards the end of this game. And McQuincy going to find DWU as well. So Dakota Wesleyan taking this high ground spot
right next to Nick. Oh my gosh, his car's on fire, and it's an explosion. You hate to see it, but secretly, you kind of do as well. There's nothing quite as sweet as getting a vehicle explosion kill. But WPI really split up, as we called earlier, all 4 players landing on 4 different parts of the map, and it is hurting them as opposed to helping them right now, as I think Paradox finally going back for Mukau here in the south. But, I mean, Gideon Jura alone by himself here in Georgia Pole with Marietta all around him.
Well, Gideon Jura should be able to survive this for quite some time, I would imagine. Dakota Wesleyan taking one. LSU is going to crash right into UCF Gold. Oh, this is bad. Just going from bad to worse for LSU here. Little Penguin going to try to escape. Oh, they got lucky. They got so lucky there. Everywhere is just occupied right now. And LSU just keeps rotating into team after team, and it looks like they're going to do it again here as they're rotating into Marietta.
Yeah, I mean, Garrison and Buttery Nasty, you know, usually we see early rotations from LSU. Buttery Nasty will pull ahead, call out places, but lately I think maybe they're taking a little too long, maybe some hesitation. But LSU is struggling to find their spot in every phase and every circle here, and as Garden is going to get found out by Marietta, looks like Lil Penguin not looking to help. Buttery Nasty, I think, is sitting happy in his as well, so that might be it for Garden, who's just going to be left by his teammates to bleed out. It's only phase 2, but Butterme Nasty's going to have to get through all of Marietta to get Garrison up.
Yeah, there's nothing they can really do. I mean, Marietta's going to hold off on finishing and debate it and see if they can find anybody, but they're most likely just going to be playing now with Butterme Nasty and Lil Penguin. Lil Penguin's still behind the wheel, trying to find somewhere to go as the new circle has popped, and it is, I want to say it's favoring the north side, but
you know, I
it's
feel
close.
like that as well. I mean, we do know that the circle will eventually pull away from water in unplayable areas. It's not uncommon for the circle to try and hang around the plane crash area. And it looks like a lot of the teams are reading that as well, as most people seem to be rotating north of the river. And inside Georgia Pole, we're seeing more teams follow suit as UNCC right behind Florida State. Garnet, who's driving very close to Marietta as well, who could just push a little bit closer to this bridge and do some damage, but DOD Utati might be a little late to this. Oh, or will he?
Yeah, there's a lot going on this fight over here as Deadbuster just going to send it right through the city here and manages to make it through the roadblock set up by Rico Rodriguez. Very fortunate there. Oh, uh-oh. They're going to keep coming. Oh my God, Rico. You're kidding me.
He's going to get that knock and flush onto overrated jumps. As Storm is actually going to vacate the vehicle and on foot, trying to push here into Marietta to see if he can only rack up a kill, but join Deadbuster as they've got a split completely surrounding Marietta. Pluis is still alive, taking out Diodati.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't deny Rico just, I mean, absolutely destroyed that guy running through the middle of town there. Overrated jumps is still wondering what happened, but Diodati not having the greatest of days here. We saw him have kind of go off on day number 1, but the wheel's spinning a little bit for him and for Marietta overall here on day number 2. They've dropped down to 9th. I think they were all the way up in 3rd at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, now it's Marietta, though, is going to continue to hold out these compounds. It looks like going for loot right now. They've got plenty. It looks like Rico actually in need of meds, so that might be what they're looking for. But as the circle starts to come to a close, we can see just outside of Georgia Pole, RIT and Arizona have found one another as Iceman is about to get crashed here by Polish. It's a nice jump over the ridgeline, but Iceman TTV not joined by the rest of his squad with this hard push onto Arizona. These are the top 2 teams from the previous match, both racking up 14 kills that last game. But I bet the Toast was not watching the right location. Iceman with that beautiful knock.
Yeah, the thing is, Iceman has such a good spot here. This is such a strong position that he might be able to 1v3 these Arizona State players. As he is playing it up over the top, he can jump back down on the other side of that ridge line as Polish takes him extremely low. The rest of RIT now going to come and provide some support, but NC State actually roasting McMaster Maroon there. Now this fight's still playing off between Arizona State, though.
Yeah, as Polish has been found out, was going to get knocked by Iceman TV as that high ground is continuing to do wonders here in Arizona State. Found out there. Iceman, you're right. Iceman 3v1 picked up 3 kills in that fight. Hip getting that last one as they will get that res off onto Hershey. But NCSU now looking for that wide rotation, dipping back into Razak. So they're looking to cross the bridge into the blue. They were taking fire from, well, looks like UNCC was eliminated. Found out by LSU, and it's going to be Little Penguin that did all of that by himself.
Little Penguin doing the heavy lifting right now for LSU here in game number 4. Butterme Nasty is inside a vehicle. He's got a lot to get through, though, to rejoin his squad mate. As we can see, Grand Canyon still hasn't even joined this fight. They are just now coming into the safe zone. They're still on the south side of the river. Meanwhile, Lil Penguin probably in the best position. If Butterme Nasty can get through this DWU squad.
Ooh, nice hits there by Nick, but is not able to get enough damage here as Butterme Nasty's able to get away. 55 HP, and look, he's found a shack again.
He has found a shack. He's been able to do things, wonderful things from these shacks, and that motorcycle should still be safe for him to use as well. He might be able to go and rejoin his squad mate, but this western side of the circle is about to be absolutely engulfed in flames.
Yeah, I mean,
GCU, I mean, Marietta, everybody is making their way in from the west here.
Yeah, and this is, I really, it's a difficult call here because Dakota Wesleyan and Florida State Garnet both have really great positions atop the hill. Florida State, however, standing to get pinched right now between Marietta and RIT. Dakota Wesleyan in a great position to pick off from this. Iceman is going to get found out, though, by Mixter, and that's a player you don't want down for RIT right now.
RIT was going for the loot off of the Arizona State players that they had, Iceman had just taken out, and they end up paying the price here as Florida State has the high ground. Iceman will go down. Looks like Hip should get the res. Ooh. If they can get back, good. Lucky for them, Marietta now coming up over the top.
This is exactly what they needed. 3-4 players go down, and it is a full wipe. Mixter, Mellow Twiggies, and It's Your Wi-Fi falling to Black Boleto, Trevor Moir, and Rico Rodriguez. One player down, but that didn't stop them. Marietta, maybe they're listening. They're back in it and already taking shots on RIT now as well.
Here comes day one Marietta staying alive in this thing. They drop down a little bit lower than they like, and now they have things perfectly set up in front of them. RIT not even taking shots back at this point. They're just trying to clown car it to get inside this next circle. It looks like they found a ridge line. They need to be careful about Mukau, but Mukau, I think, is just trying to stay alive at this point, as it looks like GCU now running into the other parts of WPI.
Yeah, there we go. And Jay Good looking for Paradox, has found them. He's going to be stuck at that ridgeline, needs to push in. This is phase 4, and the circle is nowhere close to here. Whoa. Mukau knocked down, flushed out, is going to take out, knock down Rubies, but I think we're going to get that res off by Hershey.
Flushed out Iceman.
Ooh.
You know that they are mad. They are just screaming, why is there a guy ratting in the shack? Rats. Well, it's the name of the game, man. You always got to be worried. You always got to be careful. You never know where that rat is going to be hiding. And here comes GCU. Looks like they're starting to make their way in. They have to make a pretty massive move to get inside the circle. And RIT going to be taking shots at literally everybody, as Marietta is going to be crashing right by them. Ooh. They're going to get Swagner lol out of the back of the car. Jay Good going to turn his attention on Black Bullet, and now look at this. UCF Black might get involved in this as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's no safe place to go. We've got multiple teams in one small area, teams rotating into teams, and as GCU loses Swagnar LOL, is about to get flushed. It looks like Paradox might actually steal the kill from RIT if he can just get one more bullet into this. Hershey making sure that doesn't happen, but Hershey also has his back turns to Paradox. He's so focused on GCU right now, and this could work really well in WPI's favor. But on the other side of the circle, it looks like Cal Esports now doing a number here onto Mississippi State, as Mitchie Boy's going to get a knock and kill, and Mississippi State pushing back on, but Winlow hanging close by for NCSU. So really at the East and West once again popping off here on our Erangel fourth and final match of the evening. But oof, it's this West. It's this West popping off. Gumdrops last alive for GCU, walking right up on to UCF Black, with RIT at his heels. Marietta to the south, along with Paradox, who's been spotted out by Rico.
Ooh, Paradox got the down on a Trouble Moi, but Rico going to trade it back, and there goes Marietta, taken out in 11th place, but a decent game there for Marietta. Kind of a return to form as far as the shots go. Gumdrop Button's going to try to trade out Rubies. She goes down. Gumdrop gets taken out, but not before he gets the flush. And it's down to Hip now. I believe the last player alive for RIT. They have 8 kills, but only 1 player left alive. While the eastern side of this circle also looking really spicy, as Cal and NC State might be turning on to each other right now.
Ooh, Winlow is going to go down to Mitchie Boy. Just a little too late to take that aim. And then Mitchie Boy going for the reload. It looks like spotting out Regimes, trying to do some more damage onto NCSU. They've read the feed here now, and Mitchie Boy hungry for more knocks here. Regime's trying to stay ahead of the blue. And these smokes are the only thing helping NC State right now.
Yeah, it's
got
a
the
one
high ground here, but
first versus second. NC State. Oh, they've got a good smoke wall to play around here if they can find it from the edge. But a good grenade from Mitchie Boy is going to find K-Pat. And now Crawfresh and Regimes have to decide what to do. Crawfresh hiding inside the smoke, just playing it off from the left. Regimes is about half health. He needs to try to heal up. Crawfresh going to try to hold off the push, but there's only so much he can do. He's going to find Kingdom, though. But Kingdoms will find Regimes.
Ooh, the smoke is out. Zovrin finds him out, and Crawfresh actually is going to get Zovrin down first. Magnum finishing out Crawfresh in the end. So we've got a lot of trades here, but Kingdom is stuck out in the open, and Mississippi State pushing back here to try to do some, I think, damage into Cal Esports. But I mean, they've got to make that move now and not let Cal have the opportunity to strengthen back up and regroup. But as Magnum goes to that res on Kingdom without even a smoke shield to cover them here, I think they might just get it.
Yeah, Mississippi State has a good angle here. You can see JT&T has a nice little line of sight here onto Cal. They're not landing the shots, though, unfortunately. They're just kind of taking things into the smoke. Cal's going to use that opportunity to then move back down to the south and wrap around here from another angle. Looks like they should get away with it as well.
Yeah, as Zovran and Kingdom plays, I think looking for a safer spot. Now they know where MSU is. They're chasing kills. They're chasing points. But do they run the risk of, pushing this compound for right now? They need to get further north, whatever they do. And if they rotate too far to the west, they're going to rotate into 4 other teams: LSU, DWU, UCF Black, what's left of RIT, all waiting for them on the west. Up to the north, it's just Florida State Gold, who's now found MSU. So it looks like Mississippi State now sandwiched between 2 squads as Cal Esports has decided to hold on to the east a little bit longer.
Yeah, Cal had to make a push in here at some point, and they're going to find Mississippi State, as you said. RIT going to pick up another one. Is Hip making things happen here? 5 kills for Hip. This guy's been going off for RIT today.
I mean, 9 kills for this game. Every point's really mattering. And we talked about it again. RAT was in the double digits today, lower on the leaderboard, nowhere we thought they would be, and they just brought their A game today, trying to climb back up. But UCF and DWU popping off here as Uklar is going to knock down Fry, and Bonsgard with a molly. Ooh. Is going to fall short. Nick, meanwhile, trying to take out Ogie.
Oh, look at this. Hip coming from behind. Ogie got taken very low. It looks like Nick's going to try to go for the res on the Fry here. He's only got a little bit of time left to do it. But Nick will flush out Bonsgar. Uklar is still down.
Oh, stealing that kill.
Yes, there goes Hip.
Hip is going to get...
for him to come.
I mean, this is great play here by Rochester, coming in, peeking some knocks, taking some kills, getting some points, pulling back, regrouping, keeping the high ground, maintaining strong position. He knows there's more than one squad over here, so numbers are not in his favor. But now that he's pulled back out, we can see Ogie is starting to make that rotation back, and Hip is just waiting for it, watching the west and looking for more opportunities to pick up points.
Somehow Dakota Wesleyan gets out of that fight and keeps all 4 up, and now Hip's going to turn that over to Cal as he gets them down in a Magnum, but doesn't get the flush. But here comes Ogie.
Oh, this is an opportunity here. Ogie.
Oh, he doesn't want it.
Walking right up onto Zovran, lying quiet. Oh, maybe. Might be going
He's
for
got
it.
a grenade.
I don't think he realizes Zovran is to his south here, and as he sets up Zovran, it's going to take him out with that Scar L. Cal Esports now with 8 kills.
Zovran just ate his lunch. All right, Dakota Wesleyan looks like they're going to turn their attention over towards UCF Gold, who's still 4 strong on the north side. Got a couple of fights breaking off, one to the north, one to the south, as it looks like all 3 of our teams might be fighting over here into the north and northwest.
And Fry finding out Nomad Wrath. There's going to be one knockdown. Ox Johnson's very close, but Fry making sure he gets that knock here. UCF trying to rotate for the high ground.
Look at LSU.
Oh, no. Oh,
I mean, I know there's a fight going off to the north. I hate to look away, but Dakota Wesleyan down to just Nick as they just kind of got pinched between UCF Gold and Cal.
Found by Span Cargo. Nick's got nowhere to hide. He's just going to have to go through UCF. Smoke is thrown, but it is actually going to be Cal that picks all of that up. Dakota Wesleyan.
11 kills.
3 from that fight. We said 8 just a moment ago. 8 turned into 11. You blink, and Cal Esports takes it back here. They won it tonight. They've been climbing up to the top, trying to hold that up from NCSU. We were talking also in the break that Cal was only 5 points away from NCSU for first place, and I think there's a very, very strong chance that tonight Cal's going to be king unless, I mean, really, I don't think mathematically there's a possibility for anybody else to do it. I think at this point Cal has lapped NCSU on the leaderboard.
I believe so. And that's not to say that NCSU had a bad night. They just kind of slowed down just a little bit from their, breakneck performance from day number 1. And even just slowing down a little bit just allowed Cal to kind of catch up here. So great day by them. And you can't take anything away from NC State. They're still playing really well. But now we see MSU wrapping around on the Florida State Gold.
And looks like Nicholas with the wide rotation has a Tommy gun of all guns to have, but is not going to find that flush. Doing some damage to Polaroid, but Florida now pulling back, and there's an opportunity for UCF to get a knock here, but instead they're going to focus on their numbers as they are just taking on so much damage from Cal Esports. Magnum with another knock onto Ox Johnson just as he gets res.
Oh, no. And Spam's going to go down to the blue. Dragon Legends has to make a run for it.
YOLO.
No,
It is not enough here. UCF Gold eliminated into 5th place. And we'll get a placement point, but, I mean, UCF Gold really struggling at the bottom of the leaderboard.
LSU has left the safety of their cargo container, and Mississippi State is now pushing back into them.
Ooh, nice knock by Butter Me Nasty as he spots out Pavlichenko. JT&T going down from Little Penguin, and that's 2 out. It's just Nicholas for MCSU, and he's been spotted out now by Cal Esports. Not looking great for Mississippi State. I think LSU's finally woken up. A nade thrown by Butter Me Nasty. It's going to get Nicholas low, but still not enough to get that flush. A second nade getting Nicholas even lower. That first aid kit. It's not enough to save him from Mitchy Boy, however.
Oh, and look at this. Florida State actually coming up over the top of Cal. They're going to get Kingdom Plays down and flushed. Cal is now being pushed on both sides by LSU and Florida State. They do manage to get Butter Me Nasty down. Penguin is very, very low, but Cal has to pay attention to both sides as they are getting crashed here.
Yeah, Mitchy Boy focused right now on LSU. I think he's called out to his teammates, say, you guys focus on Florida. I've got this. I know they've got very few places to be, but this little bit of
I think your mic's cut out.
There we go. I think I'm losing network, guys. I do apologize. I don't know what's happening. So hopefully we've got this. There we go. I'm back in it. Everything's green. And Mitchy Boy now losing Magnum to LSU as they're able to get that res off, but Little Penguin is going to go down.
But I mean, Nasty's still alive, though. Florida State does get eliminated by Zovrin by himself as Cal is up to 17 kills, and Zovrin picks up another 8-banger here in game number 5. LSU, they're trying to survive a little bit longer here. It looks like Cal is just going to rush onto Butter Me Nasty at this point, though. He's got no helmet. He's got a little bit of a prayer to work with. He's going to come up over the top, but Mitchy Boy, or Magnum, actually going to finish that one out. And Cal Esports, 19 kill win in game number 4.
I think it's safe to say that they came for NC State, and it was good. Great plays by Cal tonight. They had a couple of struggles in the evening, but really came into their own. Zovrin with 8 kills again. Magnum with 4. Mitchy with 6. Kingdom Plays with 1. Almost breaking the 20 mark in kills just for this Erangel game. And every kill matters, guys. We've talked about, again, placement points are great, but kills are really what's going to be the factor here from these top teams. And every kill matters. And, I mean, we're seeing that today. RIT, Arizona State, Dakota Wesleyan, Cal Esports, NC State, all these teams really pushing for kills. UNCC on Sandhawk as well. But absolutely wild play there by Cal Esports in the end.
Cal just going absolutely bananas here in game. I mean, that's just nuts. And Zovrin, the performance he had today, just absolutely top tier. Glad to see LSU make it all the way into the top 3 again. They've been having struggles with their early and mid game, trying to get all 4 to late game. But I mean, they're managing to get placements, they're managing to get kills, they're managing to hang around in this top 8 and keep themselves kind of in striking distance. Meanwhile, Florida State Gold finds their way into the top 5 here. Only 1 kill for them, but good to have those placement points. MSU got to be wondering how they managed to get to the top 4 with no kills. It seems like they were always getting involved in fights, but they just couldn't ever finish anything out, or maybe they were just getting everything stolen away from them. But I also want to give a shout out to RIT, who finished in 8th, but went out with 10 kills. So RIT just fragging out today, turning things around in such a big way from their day 1.
I mean, I agree. RIT really brought it today. Prior to this game, 27 kills, so picking up an extra 8 is going to throw them up, because above them, previously, GCU had 32, Arizona State had 31, McMaster-Boone had 30, Dakota Wesleyan had 46, Cal Esports 48, and NC State University 51. And as you can see, as I'm climbing up higher, those are our 5th place, our 4th place, our 3rd place, our 1st place teams, and the teams with that are the ones with the most kills. So that said, we should have our scoreboard updated in just a moment, guys. So I'll switch over to the leaderboard once we have points from today added. And then, we've got a few days break, and we'll return again on Sunday with game number 3, followed by next Thursday with our 4th and final game of the finals, and we will crown our victors a week from today. So that said, this is wild. I mean, Sunday, everybody really brought it. I didn't think we could go any higher than we did, but I mean, I'm hyped. Today was beautiful display of PUBG esports.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can pick out any number of solid individual performances here. We've seen some great solo play. We've seen some great team play. I mean, RIT's team fighting today, the difference between the team I saw today and the team we saw on Sunday is just night and day. I mean, you could see, I'm not sure who Hip is, but Hip _1440 by 1080. I will say your full name now that we've made it through the day. But RIT just played a completely different style of PUBG today. They were aggressive. They were pushing into people. They were getting kills. They end up getting the win on the game number 3. But even though they end up going out earlier in most of these other games, they still managed to pick up points off of kills. So this is kind of like a change in philosophy almost that we're seeing from RIT. And I'm really, really enjoying it as they've been playing hyper aggressive. But I mean, Cal just, I don't know. Cal
when they've got their
crazy.
A game on, when they're clicked into it, they are terrifying. We've seen them have amazing games on Sandhawk. Erangel really works in their favor as well. I think we're one of the stronger Erangel teams. And we've had some crazy circles today. That Miramar game did very few teams any favors as the circle continued to take hard shifts north, south, east, west, and that was really screwing with a lot of teams who might not have come out of that first game strong. But as we went through the evening and we saw everybody kind of shake that off and go into games 2, 3, and 4 with Sandhawk and Erangel, really, really fluid plays, like you said, playing together. We could just see their communication happen without even hearing the comms. The play would happen and everybody would look in that direction. People would make sure they were watching every angle. They were watching compounds. They were making smart rotations. And that's what you want to see from these top teams as we go into a grand finals event.
Absolutely. You want to see that confidence in yourself and your teammates to be able to make those calls with the limited amount of information that you have and be able to make that call and execute on that call quickly and efficiently. And that's what a lot of these teams that we're seeing in the top part of the leaderboard are doing. We are seeing some teams seemingly kind of question themselves or maybe, not make the right call in these high stress kind of situations. And it's definitely kind of proven to be costly as everybody is trying to bring their A game here because it is the finals. But we are halfway through and it looks like our leaderboards have been updated, Clover.
Yes, as I wait for the GLL webpage to reload, guys, I do apologize. I think my internet absolutely crapped out here in the last 30 minutes. As we all know, everybody's at home. It's quarantine time. Unfortunately, I do have to share my cable internet. But with that said, Cal Esports breaking the triple-digit mark at 106 points, sitting in first place, 16 points, now ahead of NC State University.
Yeah. I can't say I'm too surprised. Just based off of that final game, I mean, Cal, what do you even say about that? I mean, it was just almost a 20 kill performance. You just don't see those very often anymore in competitive PUBG. And Cal just sweeping around and getting them. But that, to be fair, NC State, like I said, they didn't have a bad day. They just, I mean, it wasn't
a great day. I think they let the foot off the gas a little bit, and when you're in a finals event, you can't. I think that they struggled a bit in games 1 and 2. They had really, really bad luck with the circles on Miramar. had a couple of really awkward rotations in that first Erangel match as well. Good land on Sandhawk, did rack them up a lot of kills, played well, but ultimately as well, what we're really seeing is that these other teams are coming to bring it, and that's going to make it a little bit harder for NC State University because they're going to have to push through the rest of these teams who are trying just as hard and just as aggressive. Something that we didn't quite see as much, like we said earlier, on that first day. Some of these teams were trying to figure out this new lobby and the new seating because, again, this is the first time a lot of these squads have played together all season long.
Yeah, and Cal now is going to be in the position that NCSU was in coming into today. They're the ones in first place. They're the ones with the giant target on their back. So how are they going to respond to that when we get to next Sunday and we start seeing all these teams that are having to make the desperate climb here before going into the final day? Because you want to try to have the best possible day on Sunday to set yourself up for that final day to make a run and hopefully make a run at first. But man, Cal, they're over 50 points above fourth place.
Yeah, I mean Rochester
that's
with 50 points,
right now.
Grand Canyon 52 points, McMaster Maroon 53, and then all the way back up now Dakota Wesleyan 73, NC State 90, Cali Sports 106. So everybody's going to have to really come out of the gate shooting, punching, ready to take players down. Against Cal, who, again, crazy rotations, crazy pushes, unpredictable plays, and I think that's what makes them so scary. You don't always know where they're going to be or what they're going to do. Players will overextend themselves, and sometimes that will come back and hurt them, but oftentimes, if they make that play right, they're able to rack up those kills, those wipes. Zovran picking up 8 kills almost every single match today. Zovran had 8 kills on, I think, 3 of the maps. So, I mean, really, that's what you want to see from these top performing teams. That said, PUBG still has an RNG factor, and you can't predict everything, but also players have bad nights. We commented on a couple times, LSU really just didn't seem turned on today. We also kind of saw both Floridas struggle a bit today as well, whereas I thought they performed a little bit better on that first day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going into the third day as we have more CBA on Sunday. There's 2 more days left for teams to rack up points, in the top 5 teams, I believe, are the ones who are going to get paid out for the season. But, I mean, first place, there can only be one winner.
Yes. And if anything the season has taught us is that there are a handful of teams in this Final 16 lobby that can have the type of day that Cal just had, where you just go off and collect a metric ton of points and climb your way up in the leaderboard. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are capable of doing that in this lobby. So we'll just have to see who comes on Sunday with a fire lit under them and see what they can put together.
Awesome. Well, guys, with that, we're done this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know in chat, again, who you're rooting for, what your predictions are, and who your favorite player is. Is it Uklar? Is it Uklar? Sorry, we've been yelled at this. It's Uklar, right? Someone explain the Uklar memes to us.
Uklar is love. Uklar is life. But I think Zovran might have a few more fans today. After today.
I definitely agree with you there. Well, guys, that's it for us tonight. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you back here again Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/collegiatepubg. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Clover and Porosortis signing off. Have a wonderful night.
See ya.